Hi, my name is Hannah Howard, and I've been part of this church for pretty much my whole life. So as many of you already know, my husband and I found out we were pregnant with our third baby at the very beginning of summer. We heard the news that nobody wants to hear. I'm sorry, but we don't see a heartbeat anymore. The day that we posted about our growing family, I started spotting 2 hours later. It initially freaked me out, but I started researching online and saw post after post after post about women that were like 12 plus weeks like me, started spotting, and then went to the doctor and everything was fine. So over the next few days, I just kept praying like, God, please take this blood away from me. Help this baby to be okay. But God never took it away. It never got worse either, so I was just trying constantly to not spiral in my head. On Sunday night, as I was laying in my bed and having this battle in my mind, I began to pray, but not pray in this begging way that I had been for the past 2 days. Praying in a way that I was recently learning about over the summer. This summer, our girls' small group started reading this book by Jamie Winship, and the whole purpose of this book is to teach you how to pray and how to listen for God in very, very tangible ways. He includes exercises to practice in his book, and I decided that night to try one of them. So he says to ask, Lord, what do you want me to know about this situation? And then just write down the first thing that comes to your mind. Don't try to discern if it's you or if it's God in that moment. Just write it down. Usually later in sharing it with someone else or in some other moment, God might confirm that that was him. So I did this. I asked, Lord, what do you want me to know? And immediately I sensed him saying, I know you, Hannah. I know this baby. He didn't say everything was fine and that the baby was healthy or that I was healthy, but that he knew us. And that brought me all the comfort that I needed. I could rest. My routine appointment was scheduled for Wednesday, and I decided that unless my spotting got worse, I was just going to wait prayerfully until we got to Wednesday and check and make sure everything was okay. It was a hard few days. On Wednesday morning, I woke up at like 3 a.m. and I couldn't go back to sleep because I always have pregnancy insomnia. And I decided to spend some of that time in prayer again. And again, I did the same exercise. Lord, what do you want me to know? And immediately what came to my mind was, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will not be afraid because you are with me. And as soon as I heard it, I changed it in my mind to omit the word death. Even though I walk through the valley, I will not be afraid because you are with me. I remember thinking, this spotting is my valley and everything else will still be okay. On our last 25 minutes of our drive to Christ Hospital, I became extremely anxious. I asked Anthony to put on a worship playlist, and he just clicked on a random one that we had never listened to before. And the 3 songs that played on our way to that appointment all spoke to me deeply. Just that morning, I had read the verse on the Bible app, every good and perfect gift is from above. And those exact words were in that second song. And I knew this baby was such a gift. The last song that played was called Flowers. The chorus says, so I brought it up in a desperate prayer, Lord, why are you keeping me here? Then he said to me, child, I'm planting seeds. I'm a good God and I have a good plan. So trust that I'm holding a watering can and someday you'll see that flowers grow in the valley. Later that day when we heard the words, I'm sorry, but we don't see a heartbeat anymore, our whole world shattered. When the midwife walked out of the room to make calls, Anthony and I just instantly started sobbing. How could this possibly be real? We were at the very end of the first trimester and we had heard a heartbeat and saw a healthy baby a few weeks ago. We should be safe, but we weren't. The rest of the day felt like a blur. We sat in the lobby and called our moms and our closest friends to tell them the news because we couldn't bear to get in our cars and drive home, knowing that this baby that we've been dreaming about and loving for 3 months was gone already. On our way home, I started reflecting and trying to focus on the Lord. I remember thinking, why, God, did this happen now? We just told everybody on Facebook that we were expecting like 3 days ago. Why did this have to happen like this? Now we have to tell everybody that we lost this baby. While I was reflecting, I was telling Anthony about all my prayers from the week, where God told me that he knew me, how he gave me Psalm 23, but I wanted to not hear the word death. About how the Flowers song confirmed to me that he gave me Psalm 23. While telling him this, I looked down at what song was playing on the screen in the car because I wasn't listening to it. And the title included the word valley, and then I lost it. God was again telling me that he was with us in this valley. It rained our whole way home, even though it was sunny all around us. And I just remember looking out to the sky and saying, God is weeping with us too. That night, again, no surprise, I couldn't sleep again. And when I was up in the middle of the night, I was just praying for a long time, crying out, God, why did this happen? I want answers. I want to do the genetic testing to figure out what went wrong, because this baby was healthy just a few days ago. It was not fair. I didn't even get to know if this baby was a boy or if it was a girl. I didn't get to name this baby. After a while, I didn't feel like praying anymore. I got on my phone because I still couldn't sleep. And then I randomly saw a picture of a flower, Lily of the Valley. And I knew right then, Lily was my baby's name, her name. I wanted answers, and God gave me her name. I didn't need genetic testing. He told me days ago, Hannah, I know you, I know this baby, and he does. He knows her. He holds her, he knew her name. I've never experienced anything like this in my life. Anthony was still sleeping, but it didn't matter. I didn't have to ask him because I knew this was her name. I immediately texted my mom and my two best friends, and I told them this story. Lily means pure. And my baby was that at that very moment, pure and whole, and in the pure light and arms of Jesus. I then remembered the verse, look at the lilies and how they grow. They don't toil. And yet Solomon was not dressed as beautifully as they are. My Lily doesn't ever have to toil. She only ever knew the love of her mother and the love of the Father. She is beautiful, and somehow in the midst of my sorrow, I was comforted for the very first time, comforted in a way that was completely unexplainable. Lily's pregnancy was a surprise to us, but she was a good and perfect gift from above, even if we only got to have her for 13 weeks. God took care of us over the next few days leading up to my surgery in ways that almost seemed bizarre, but they were God. He was taking care of things to help ease our burden. The day before we found out that we lost Lily, my cousin was fixing something at my parents' house, and he randomly told them that he now works at a funeral home doing cremation. He's a mechanic. Not knowing that 2 days later, I would be trying to figure out what to do with Lily's remains. And God made this easy for us. He whispered, my yoke is easy, my burden is light. After my surgery, I was looking back at my 5-year prayer journal, and I just wanted to see what I wrote down on the day that I found out I was pregnant with her. And I wrote, Lord, help this baby to radiate your love. And that's all she did in her short life. She showed me how much and how deep God loves me, how he prepared me for such a time as this. He made sure that I told everyone about this perfect gift because he knew that I needed community. But it was more than that. He wanted this little life, this little Lily, to be able to share with everybody else how good God is too. To show other moms that have walked through this or will walk through this type of loss that he is near to you when you're brokenhearted. Even after this, I found myself wondering and questioning, like, God, do you still work like this? Do you still name your children? And I was just reminded, like washing over me, that he's still the same God. I was remembering all the times that he named his children in scripture or renamed them. And every time he did this, it was this turning point in their lives, this moment where God says, you were this, but now you're mine. When God gave me Lily's name, he was telling me, I know your baby, Hannah, but it was this blessing for my life. I've loved Jesus my whole life, as long as I can remember almost. But it wasn't until this moment that I realized that I never fully gave over my trust to him. Losing Lily was this moment where I fully surrendered my family and my plan for us over to him. He named her, but it represented a change in me. Jesus showed up for me in so many ways this past few weeks. Had I not been in the small group that I was in, I never would have prayed like I did. I never would have been listening like I was. Had I not posted about our growing family when I did, I wouldn't have had the community that I have had. I wouldn't have had to share Lily's story. Had I not started spotting when I did, I would have found out this horrible news all alone because I wouldn't have had Anthony there with me. God was looking out for us in ways that only he can. And he showed up for me in more ways than I can probably list. I knew I wanted to share this story when I was in the midst of my sorrow, when I was still broken, because God has been with me while I've been broken, and I want you guys to know that. I knew that He wanted me to share her story that night when I heard her name. This was Lily's story, and it has forever changed me.